Okay, my name is Steffen Moen. I'm from VMware in Norway. I work primarily with the enterprise management portfolio. I'm going to talk together with Bengt Grønås, who is going to take the operations part, and I'm going to focus on automation. How many in the audience knows about the vRealize suite and the different products? So almost all of you. How many is using it today in some? Okay, are you using all the 3 products or only some of them?
We're using primarily
Automation.
Operation.
Okay. So today we're going to focus on automation, which I'm going to talk about, and Bengt is going to talk about operations. We also have the business product, which do the costing or the business part of the cloud, but that's not part of the topic today. It's going to be a bit technical, but mostly high level, because it's we just released a new version of automation, and I think it's a good way to just talk about the new features and how it actually works, and not dig that deep into the technical pieces. So why is automation important? This is something I usually don't like animated slide, but I like this one, and everyone seems to kind of relate to it, because this is the way most of you deliver services today. To set up a single VM is quite easy. The problem tends to start when you do the whole application stuff as well. When you add networking, storage, databases, and trying to tie all this together. So the release cycles of complete services is quite long, several weeks usually. So what VMware is actually talking about is not primarily the infrastructure piece, which most of the customers has actually done something around. It doesn't have to be self-service automated in that fashion, but it's cloning of VMs and the role part as well. So where you actually can save a lot of time and also a lot of money is when you also attack the application part of it. When you actually start to build blueprints and make them easily available, which also includes networking, security, availability, performance, and of course the different tiers of a service. So with vRealize automation, you can do this. You don't have to have NSX, vSAN, but it helps. It makes it a bit easier, but you can still do it with traditional networking, traditional storage, or other software-defined storage or networking solutions. I just want to use some time on this slide, because this is VMware's internal IT the last 3 years. And as you can see on this slide, we have, over these past 3 years, for each year, half the costs of one VM, or one VMU. Sorry, I got past it. So in 2012, we had 10,000 internal VMs. And to 2013, we actually halved the costs per VM, and we had 10 times as many. And the same the next year. So for total of these 3 years, we actually got an 80% reduction of cost, and we got a 20% improvement on the development side. This is quite important, because if you know our products and how often we actually release new features, that time and the amount of features is getting more and more. So each release has more features, and they come quite often. And the only way to do that is actually to make the amount of time that the developers actually are spending waiting for infrastructure, waiting for services, down to a minimum. And this is what we have accomplished with our vRealize suite internal. I'm going to talk a bit about our new blueprint model and design space. This is from the latest version, the vRealize Automation 7. This is not only a place where you can do basic scripting and integration, this is a place where you can actually handle the life cycle of your entire service. So it's not only a place where you order something and it automatically getting built, but you can also do the day-to operations afterwards. So if you have an application owner that has some services they actually are owning or delivering to your organization, they can do basic tasks like, for example, starting a backup, taking a snapshot, doing expansion of a disk that is getting full. They can do all these day-to-day tasks that you want to move out to not actually the end user, but probably the application owner. You can, of course, build blueprints that not only uses the basic infrastructure element like the VM, the database, but also the networking, the security, the SLAs, the profiles that actually defines your application. The new blueprint designer is also based on more of a drag and drop kind of feeling. So you can build these scripts, you can build the different blueprints of different elements, and you can actually just place them on the canvas and drag networking between them. You can add load balancing. Yes?
So it consists of different add-ins and plugins to different products as well?
Yes, I come to that in a bit. But basically, the VRA, or the vRealize automation product itself, is the place where you actually design the services more on architectural level, and all the integration is actually done back-end by the orchestrator. So the orchestrator can be expanded so that it has plugins for the different set of tools you actually want to integrate. It could be CMDB, IPAM, load balancers, whatever. And you can actually call them from the automation console. And it's actually been a big, there's been a leap in how you actually build integrations in automation in version 7. So I'm going to get back to that. Another great thing that I will come back to is the last sentence. You can now actually, because this been kind of a bottleneck or a problem with VRA in the past, that you actually have to build everything in a graphical user interface. So in the latest version, you can actually export everything as code, and you can also import code as well. So you don't actually have to, you can use the traditional developer tools if you like. Why is networking important? Because if you look at how you deliver services today, networking is probably the most time-consuming and most complex piece of the automation job. So if you want to streamline your service delivery, you actually need to do something about how you deliver networking services. That's why NSX is so important in automation on our platform. So in automation, in the blueprint designer, you can actually not only create these virtual machines or the blueprints with the virtual services, you can also attach these different profiles, which controls what kind of storage you get, what kind of redundancy level you get on the service, which performance characteristics, and so on. And on top of that, you get the connectivity part. You can build default gateways, you can build firewalls, edges, netting devices, load balancers, and all can be packaged together with the virtual machine. And when you've done that, you can actually clone or snapshot entire services with all the networking functions attached. And you can redeploy it several times. So the things you saw on the previous slide will actually build you a service that kind of look like this. It could be a web front-end service with a netted port to a load balancer. It could be firewall rules between the web application databases. It could be application-level firewalls integration for layer 7 inspection. It could be routers, switchers. Everything can be tied together in this blueprint and can be delivered with a single click. You asked about integration. This is probably a major leap in the latest version. I don't know if any of you have tried to build integration with vRealize Automation Orchestrator in the past. it's kind of hard to build because you need to know from the automation side which workflow to trigger and what inputs it needs. And what we saw at customers trying to build this was that it was quite easy to do it initially, but as soon as you started making changes and wanted to deliver more, it was quite easily to end up in a corner with a hard way of getting out. So this is actually a way we have actually turned the way we talk to the integration part of it, or upside down. So today we're actually using a message bus. We call it the event broker. So on the vRealize automation, in the workflow, you can actually send out events on a bus. And the event could be, for example, development, production, or whatever. And then on the orchestrator part, where you actually create integrations or the workflows, you can say that this workflow should listen to these types of tags or events. And that says that you can actually build one automation script regardless of which environment you're going to use it on, and you trigger different workforce. So in this example on the bottom, you actually have different workflows doing approval. So we have one for development, you have one for test, you have one for production. You have, of course, integrations to CMDB. It could be different kind of processes in different environments or for different customers if you're a service provider. And of course, you have different set of scripts or things that you need to run. And the integration is, by doing this, is a lot more easy to build. Blueprints as code. I won't talk too much about this, but it's basically making blueprint authoring and designing a bit more intuitive to developers. But it's not a secret. It's not a secret that earlier the infrastructure guys was doing a lot of automation, but today we are talking about automating everything for the application, and you actually need to have the developer focus as well. So DevOps needs to be part of this. And the only way to get the developers to take part of the automation part is actually doing it more developer friendly. So blueprints as code is one part of that. When we talk about automation or cloud management overall, it's actually not so that the customers only have vSphere or VMware at their location or are using vCloud Air as a hybrid cloud. They're using a lot of different solutions. They can use Xen, they can use KVM, they can use Hyper-V, they can use Azure or AVS. So our automation operations and business platform is actually a platform that can handle all different set of on-premise systems. It could be bare metal, it could be the different various types of hypervisors, or of course, the major public cloud vendors. I know that Azure doesn't show on this list. That's because it's not ready yet as a plugin, but it could be built specifically to customers if you need it. So it's not something we can't do, but it's not just the shelfware yet. Okay. Any questions about automation? Yes?
You know that the feature or the example you took was based on a request from an application owner, but can you use orchestrator as a to implement desired state? You monitor a machine, and then if something changes, go and make the change back to the way it was.
Kind of a compliance and change auditing kind of thing. Yes, we can do that, not with automation part, but operations. vRealize operations actually has a feature or kind of an extension that can do that part, which is compliance and auditing tools, which make kind of
But
this
can,
is.
But can that trigger a workflow to do something in orchestrator?
Yes, it can. I don't know if you actually want to do that because it depends on what kind of change has been made. It isn't actually necessarily able to return it to a previous state unless you have a snapshot and can do a live snapshot transformation. But we have no way of actually triggering a snapshot based on a user kind of user triggered job on the local server. So if you do a snapshot in front, but in your example they probably don't, then you kind of you can discover the change and where it is, and you can manually go and restore it if it's possible. Any other questions? Yes?
We have already VRA in place,
Mhm.
and we have a web page for use to click on get the server, and I can put in names, etc., etc. So is it a way to does VRA have an API that I can call from other system that can call a particular blueprint with all of the variables that normally a user puts in? I can just call that blueprint with a particular username, host name, etc., etc.
The question was if you can actually call vRA or vRealize automation by an API and use it as a system under another ordering kind of system. And yes, you can do that. All the different functions you can actually perform in automation is available through the REST API. So I know customers that have been using Remedy or something on a ticketing service or change side, and they actually want to trigger the workflows or the different service catalog items after you actually put in a request in Remedy. So yes, it is possible, but it's you will probably discover that it's quite hard, not because it's hard on the array side, but the different tools you use on top actually needs to know exactly which kind of item they should trigger and what input variables they need. So every time you actually build something in the Blueprint Designer or create a new service for the catalog, you actually need to make every the logic on the different tools outside as well. So if in specifically this type of thing, it will be more natural to use the portal in VRA to order the service, and then we will call the remedy or the ticketing or change tool and actually create the request and wait for it for approval or something like that before it actually answered back, and we do the provisioning. Because then you can build the different services and just use the same function to call the tool outside. So, but APIs is something that VMware has been working a lot on the last years. And we also use our own APIs now. If you go 3 or 4 years back in time, we always had our own backdoor into the different systems and was able to do a lot more than you can actually do by doing the API calls. So, but today, VRA is using the public APIs for vCenter, for NSX, and so on and so on. So you can quite easily make automation part of a bigger solution where you can build your own portal and you use Automation Center for your VMware stuff and you use System Center for your Hyper-V stuff if you like to do that. But you can also just go path Automation Center and do the calls directly if that suits you.
Yeah, it's a discussion.
I know, it's always a discussion. I think Bengt has a slide that shows a bit around our cloud management platform maturity, which is the vRealize suite. And one of the things that we get quite some recognition for is the way we handle all the different types of vendors and cloud providers, and that we actually provide one simple interface to orchestrate and automate things, not only on our platform, but on the others as well. Other questions? Yes.
It is something to do with, I don't know if it's the right question now. Do you think about we can use the nano server?
If you can use the nano server
Yeah.
on and automate it,
Yeah.
or instead of vSphere?
Yeah, installations.
Oh, if you can actually provision nano servers with this. The nano server is actually just a server, as well as a Linux and the Windows. It's just smaller than the others. And the nano server is probably mainly controlled by PowerShell and stuff like that. And PowerShell is one of the built-in plugins for Orchestrator. And there's no problem to provision nano servers and do all the customization you need by doing PowerShell. Or if you would like to call System Center and do the customization stuff on that side. So I don't see any issues around that. It should be the same way you deploy 2012 Windows today. Other questions? Okay, thank you. Bengt, will you have the honor?
Der, ja. Skal vi se. Bengt Grønås. Jeg har jobbet i VMware i 1 år. Før det så jobbet jeg med alle andre ting som ikke hadde noe med VMware å gjøre i det hele tatt. Så all min VMware-kunnskap og nye verktøy og tools og sånt er ikke 1 år gammelt. Jeg må ingen spørre noen dumme spørsmål til slutt, for da klarer jeg ikke å svare på det. Oi, jøss. Well, et av de verktøyene som jeg har begynt å starte med er da det som kalles for vRealize Operations Manager. Og i vår pool, i vår portefølje da, så er dette det som vi bruker da for å kjøre systemene våre etter at de da ble automatisert ut og deployet som det holder da, så er de da i vår bedrift, og vi vil gjerne overvåke de, monitorere de, sørge for at de har det bra, og at ingenting går gærent til noen slags tid. Så vi ønsker da å få en slags analyse og en forutsigbarhet for at dette går bra. Og nå innrømmer jeg da at jeg skulle egentlig tatt det på engelsk, for at jeg blir recordet, så da hopper jeg over til engelsk, okay? Right, what you need to do when you have deployed all your servers is to actually run them, to actually operate them, to actually monitor them, to actually make sure that they are okay. And as a cloud management portfolio that we have, we use vRealize operations for this. Not just analyze and predict trouble, but also to do capacity planning. And capacity planning is like, do I really need to invest in a server next year or in 3 weeks' time? Or can I actually use my own platform and utilize it better? So before the shit hits the fan, we need to know. My wet dream, or anyone's wet dream, is that we're supposed to have our own private cloud in this scenario. We love to have the complete data center in our own on-site to be able to be within the parameters so that we can actually have everything managed together with all the other clouds. With all the other type of clouds, can be Azure, can be Amazon, can be vCloud Air, which is what we have. And how do we make this come together? There will probably this year be an sort of a presentation of NSX, which is our networking tool that will actually bring all these together and connect the different endpoints into one big happy family. So what we need to do is to get rid of the silos. Everything is managed and differently, and all these clouds, including our own, do not talk together with each other. And how are we supposed to do this? Are we the ones that are supposed to do this? Is VMware aware of that? This is a marketing slide from IDC that says that they think so. Multi-cloud management, we're quite good at it, and automation, as Steffen was talking about. So what does vRealize operation actually do? Well, it collects the metrics and presented it to us in beautiful dashboards. Some more beautiful than others. Out-of-the-box dashboards may not be the ones that you are looking for, but it's super easy to create your own dashboards and make them look quite good and make them to be a sort of a conform dashboards that actually has everything that you need into one space. And this removes the thousands of clicks that you need to do in order to go here and go there and collect metrics in vCenter, for example, our own management admin tool. You have to see on the metrics one by one, and oh, the CPU is bad, yeah, let me put up that. Okay, and the memory is bad, yeah, let me put up that. And so you don't correlate events from everything around you. with vCenter itself. So what we have is this tool, and this is quite a remarkable tool. You can install it on Hyper-V and make it only survey and collect metrics from your hardware, and that's how independent the product is. I would be lying if I didn't say that it has a good integration with vCenter. This is probably the best of it all. And it comes in its standard version, the smallest version, to only survey things from your virtual environment and not from the hardware above or below itself. So in the standard version, which is called vSOM, vSphere with Operations Manager, which has a license cost less than your upgrade from vSphere to vSphere. There you have the standard version, which makes you able to collect everything from your virtual environment. That means that the ESXi host, the vCenter, and the VMs are taken good care of and monitored. And you can predict and troubleshoot and capacity plan around the product. So we need to go from sort of disaster recovery maintenance to incident problem management that actually make us focus on identifying emerging issues before they happen, rather than fixing troubles as they happen to be firefighting. And the vROps analytics engine that this consists of can actually take a good care of your environment and sort of predict when problems are going to happen. It has it has the ability to collect one or more alerts and put them into a smart alert and say, hey, we got a packet drop on 5,000 of your VMs. What's happening? And just give you one alert. So smart alerts is quite good at that. In the product, we have something that is called dynamic thresholds. And dynamic thresholds is a wonderful thing, because when you install this product, which is quite easy, if I come to you as a customer and I try to install this product together with you, we will be using 35 minutes if you drink a lot of coffee. If we did install it, we have to leave it there for like 2, 3, 4 weeks, because what it needs to do is learn how you work during the day. If you have a threshold that you set, a hard threshold that you set, you work through the day and you might hit the threshold from time to time and you get false positives. With a dynamic threshold, it follows your workday all along and actually gives you no false positives. But then, if something really, really bad happens, then you hit the threshold and you are alerted. And in that term in operations is called anomaly, something that is not normal. So this was supposed to be about end-to-end. I had some really rough slides about how to create dashboards with XML files and stuff, and I'm not going to show that, but I would love to later in a WebEx for you. So what does end-to-end mean for us? If you talk to a network guy, end-to-end is like from one switch to another, or if you talk to a UC guy, you have it from the whatever you have on your laptop and to the VM and the Hyper-V server that you are connecting to. If you talk end-to-end with a storage guy, he will probably tell you, yeah, it's from the switch that connects to the ESXi host and down to my storage network. That's it. That's end-to-end. And if you think about it in the physical world, going to the dentist and to the proctologist on the same day is not what I mean about end-to-end. But what is in between then? The end user and the disk that actually revolves in our storage. Let's take a little look on this, and I will also show you some animations of a lab that I have at home. Which will give us an insight in the front end, in the EUC part of of this, and also I will show you what happens to storage and to network and how we can monitor and operate Cisco switches, NetApp storage, and so forth. I will show it all to you. So this is what end-to-end is for me. You have a user with an agent on a client or something. You have Android device that you actually want to have Windows 10 with Office 365 on, whatever. You need SAP, Google Apps, whatnot. You connect to internet. I will bet you that there are some Cisco devices out on the internet, and I will bet you that your service provider might have some Cisco tools. You will, in our case, use a security server in a DMZ zone, which you will connect via to your connection server, Horizon connection server. Our end user computing product is called Horizon. And that connection server will give you a VM that will actually contain your desktop, or it will give you a linked clone actually that will contain your desktop. And further on, that VM resides on an ESXi host. That host is a physical device underneath it that will actually be connecting to maybe a Brocade SAN network directly down into your storage devices in the bottom. That could be from HP, Dell, NetApp, whoever makes those devices, EMC, for example. And VNX from ESC is quite popular today. So remember again the silos here. We have a silos with a EUC guy. We have a silo with a networking guy. We have a silo with ourselves with a VM guys. So and then we have silos in the storage guys. There are silos all over the place here. But how do we bring it all together with vROps is the first step into disconnecting these silos, or to even them out, to stop pointing the finger pointing game on each other. I know there is something here, but I cannot pinpoint it, and where is it? And this is what vROps is all about. So now, I'm going to show you just a bit of the basics in vROps, because so many has installed vROps via our biggest partners, for example, Every, Atea, and Crayon, has installed a lot of vROps out there, vCops as it was was before. They changed its name every time I changed my underwear. But, so vROps is vRealize something, and vCops was the vCenter something, and everything that was vCenter something is now called vRealize something. So instead of going straight to something that we can look on that has to do with bits and bytes, I will show you the absolute basics in the beginning. What we'll see when we get into the demonstration area is that we will show the EUC bit first. I want to talk about everything that comes from the vCenter into vROps, because that's more or less given that we actually do the collection of everything that vCenter says about stuff, but it's not given that we can look into storage and Cisco and whatnot. So I will show you the EUC stuff first, and then we'll go over and see how it looks when you go down to storage and see whatever happens there. And we will see on the hierarchy in this, and we will also see auto-remediation then. And one auto-remediation is, for example, hey, I need more CPUs for my VM. Then I can discover that with vROps and actually do the automation of giving CPU extra to that VM if I want to. This is, of course, something that I need to be careful with, because not all OSs and not all apps are ready to get another CPU and start using it. So a boot might be in the loop there. You ready for a Camtasia recorded screenshot?
One question.
Yeah.
Does it have application performance monitoring? Like I can go into a web server or a multi-tier web server database and look where's the latency?
Absolutely. We have everything from the app side to the storage side to any hardware and any app.
Can I create my own monitors, or is a bunch of image management packs that I can use, for IIS and Apache and so on?
Yes, there are already management packs for Apache and for all the other web servers in the world, sort of WebLogic and whatnot. I will not present you with a complete list here, but I can produce one for you at the office. So it is possible.
Application monitoring part needs an agent.
Yeah, you need an agent for application.
Which is
Is it only Windows or Linux or?
no, it's different OSs, but
I will talk a little bit about what databases are supported, and of course, all the typical Microsoft products as Exchange and SQL Server are all supported, and you can look on table scans, you can look on table spaces, you can look on anything that has to do with Oracle, MySQL, whatnot. First, let's do the almost demo. So what I have here is, can we see this? Is it possible to see what it says? Almost. It's zooming a bit. So first, I have a virtual machine here that actually has been running out of disk space. It's not one virtual machine; it's 7 of them. 7 objects are impacted. And click on the details, and the remedy for this is, of course, what? Add more disk. So that's no great thing. I have a VM that is stressed with low memory. It's not a very urgent problem, but I still have one. Here you have a button to set the actual memory on the fly. If it has hot memory add and hot CPU add, you can do this on the fly. Now I go into the details, I click on this to see what happens, and see my process is in progress. It's running. I'm clicking here on adding of memory that has already been done recently. And hot add was not enabled. It needed a boot. Was the boot allowed or not at this time? Yes or no? It was allowed, so Bob's your uncle. You added memory with a boot. Now we have a failed one. What's that all about? Power off was not allowed, and hot add was not enabled. So I wasn't able to do this remedy there and then. So that was not possible. Here's the dashboard, and you have different types of parameters that you can get out. For example, you get heat maps on top there. You have latency problems. You have packet drops, and the usual parameters that you're interested in a desktop usage within here. Top N is what we are looking at here. Top N servers that cannot do this and that, and so forth. We are looking at one usage on one desktop, and we get some parameters about it, how the PC over IP bandwidth is, how the latency is, disk read bytes, and how it performs in the end user perspective. And everything that we look at here is down to the data store in VMware. So everything that we can see here has to do with the data store. It's nothing below that. Here we have heat maps again. This is about CPU contention. Contention is bad. You ask for more than you can get, so you have a contention. You are waiting for something. Click on it, and I see the objects that surround what I clicked on. And the same for disk latency. If you have disk latency, we are waiting for getting disk operations to be done. So we need to solve them. Turns red because of the latency, and you can turn the size into workload, for example. That takes 2 parameters, these type of, and this is out of the box. This is delivered for Horizon. This is all Horizon. Hold on here. I want to say something about this. This is the anomalies. So when you see that dot, this is the anomalies. This is where we go over the dynamic threshold. And you can see that it is historical data that I'm looking at. So in the end, we can gather together many of these data and see on the historical data for like 30 days back or 90 days back and 6 months back, which is the default. Here we have a desktop, a dashboard for help desk, which is all collected together, sort of. We see all the errors in the right side, where you can click on it and do remedies, or you can click on them and actually get an explanation there and then what has happened. On this dashboard, you have all the session logon times, you have the profile load time, maybe the shell load time, interactive session time, and collectively what you need to do is to solve problems around the end user when he sits on his Android device and puts up Horizon client and talk to the VM somewhere and gets his desktop, runs its applications and 3D applications if he wants to. Well, so what about our lovely competitors, Citrix, for example? Don't worry, it's all the same for Citrix as it is for Horizon. We can solve Citrix send desktops and send apps problems pretty much the same as Horizon, and view it through the whole EUC stack that provides. Same type of dashboards, gives you logon times, gives you something over IP that doesn't have the speed enough, so you have to measure the latency in there as well. So, what about anything that is between the end user and VMware? Again, back to the wet dream of connecting all of the clouds together, even our own. And what about vendors that are coming from other type of vendors that are not popular, like the one on the corner that you buy a switch from? Well, as long as they support these protocols, and you're good to go. There are many management packs from the vendors. The vendors actually, when they are releasing their new products, they make a management pack for vROps most often. Of course, we can monitor NSX as well. Let's take a look at what we do with, for example, Cisco. Cisco, we can measure all the throughput, everything that you can imagine that you would do on a port. We can have look on every port and see how the statistics for one port is, and for all the ports, like here. And you don't have to go and use SSH to the terminal server window and PuTTY and whatnot to find this out. You can have it here. And of course, you can have the status on the Cisco Nexus switch health to the left, and on the Cisco Nexus port switch on the switches to the right. And there will be a lot of red. No, just joking. I don't know where I got this from, but it's not mine. Throughput, details, everything. What about the databases then? We can support Oracle, DB2, Postgres, whatever. And also the Active Directory add-ins. We can know when people have done stuff in the Active Directory. You can look at MySQL or a SQL Server, and any parameter or any metric that you can think of, we can get from both the Exchange and SQL Server. Even an add-in for SCOM, anything that you can monitor with SCOM can be added to vROps, and then you have the ability to capacity plan based on those data as well, not only the data that you collect from the VMs and from vCenter.
You said something about Active Directory.
Yeah.
Am I wrong if I say that this is VMware's contender to SCOM, like Operation Manager, like we could?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We-
So, yeah, because if you can get both like Active Directory logs and problems there, also a SQL server, and also OS and different Linux whatnot, then it's better to have one tool instead of 2-3 different tools, and you have less agents and all that kind of stuff.
You can come up and say that when we are finished with everything, because you are concluding with that we only need one tool to do monitoring on any device, any app, anywhere, on anything, any hardware, any software, and even though from all the applications that we need to get from. This is, of course, not a full list of anything. It's just an example of what we do. The Microsoft world is, of course, very prominent there, and is in the lead of what applications we use. So, of course, it's okay to mention that by now.
So if, for instance, you have a physical server that runs Windows, you can install an agent and it will start collecting information from that physical server which runs Windows.
Dell and Lenovo has made their own agents right now, so they have add-ins, and a lot of hardware things are actually bubbling up from the ESXi host into the vCenter actually. So if I unplug my one power on my lab at home, it actually shows in the vCenter. So the vCenter reports that to operations and actually give me an error on it. So there's a lot of free stuff that you get only from the vSOM, the operations manager, and in the standard version directly connected to the vCenter. So you might get away with less than you think, I think.
And just one finished question. To users that you use to collect data from, for instance, ESXi houses,
Yeah.
could that just be a read-only administrator, for instance? Or do you need
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only read-only is necessary for any ESXi host.
Yeah.
And that also goes for the log tool that we have that collects, this Splunk killer we have, Log Insight it's called. It collects from anything from ESXi syslogs, Cisco syslog, Brocade syslogs, whatever syslog you might have, and event logs all over the place, and collects them into one tool. You don't need to know regular expression to search in it. So you just use your own language and search, for example, iSCSI, error, trouble, whatever you want, and you get the results there and then in seconds.
Just a comment on that.
Yeah.
The read-only user will of course give you the data, but you are unable to do remediation actions.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't do anything. So I know customers that tried with the read-only user and found out that they actually wanted to do some sort of remediation as well.
Yeah.
And that then you start needing rights, but you don't need to read on every single hypervisor. You can move towards vCenter.
Yeah, it's like if I could go home, log on to my work, and install VRA just to test it, or I have to wait Monday and ask my boss if I could have the administrative password.
No, the automation part is quite more extensive. So operations is something you can do without touching anything. You can only collect data from vCenter. But automation is far more intensive. You can do that in production unless you want to.
No, we have implemented automation at vROps.
There were a lot of hands up here, but can we just go through? Yeah.
How detailed is the Active Directory logging? Is it like you can see who deleted a machine object, who deleted organizational units, or what type of logging is it?
And the answer is yes, 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 I think, because I haven't tried it myself. But I can, of course, give you the information on a later time, whatever we collect from Active Directory.
But
But-
you can't compare it to an auditing tool.
Yes.
When it comes to AD. It's a monitoring tool, not in compliance and all.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
You can probably find out most of what you're looking for, but it's not time-stamped and in a way that you can call it audit.
This is for monitoring. This is for operation. This is not for actually administering. So, yeah. What I need to show you here is what we do about storage. What you have here is a tree down to the data store, and we can see that anything that is sort of virtual goes down to the data store where the VMFS resides on some disk somewhere. I just want to show you about storage. I will show you a little clip of how VNX EMC from the NIC looks, and how NetApp storage looks, and to give you the tree structure and show you the whole stack below the VM and down. So let's go. So here on top we have data center, we have host system, we have virtual machines, and the data store. This is obviously something you can get from vRealize operation itself. But what we do not have is the EMC adapter instance, the NFS and the file systems, CIFs, the controller data, the data mover data, the dynamic volumes, the LUNs, and even the disk data itself on the bottom there. And this comes from the storage vendor as an add-in. In the add-in, in the management pack, you have dashboards, you have metrics that they know that you need to measure. So the metrics are gathered together and put into the dashboards, which they find reasonable to use. When I click on one of these objects, I get the path that object is related to. And I even get the objects that is surrounding the object that I clicked on. So you see on the left side now, you have a vCenter server, a data center, and a host system, and virtual machines that have been sort of highlighted when I selected a data store somewhere down there. I could have selected the disk in the bottom and got the whole path up to the VM. Then I know that the VM that this user is using that disk So I get a correlation between the disk and the user. Right, more NetApp. This is a NetApp dashboard out of the box. All of this is out of the box. This is nothing that I have created. Just to show you the hierarchy that you go through in order to find your error. And the thing is that this is supposed to show you the whole stack through the. I haven't showed you anything about actually troubleshooting then. But then again, if I may pause that video right here. On the right side, on top there, you have metrics that has been collected. And one of those metrics might be iSCSI performance stuff. It could be fiber channel protocol performance stuff. And I can take those metrics that I collected from the storage and put them together with Cisco metrics, together with EUC metrics under each other in the lower part to the right where they will show up when I have selected metrics. Sorry, I need to go back. Damn it. There we go. I need to go. Yeah, thanks. What I need to show you is this. So on the right-hand side then, I get the graphs of the metrics that I did select. And I can put them below each other and correlate events from the whole stack to find my error. I can create dashboards out of this. There's a button there where whenever I'm satisfied with all the metrics that I put under each other, I can create a dashboard out of that, and that will become my sort of go-to dashboard to find errors. So through the whole stack and through the whole structure, I can create a dashboard here and now out of these dashboards. As a matter of fact, is that the troubleshooting module of operations is based on this type of metrics collection. And you have an analysis bit in here. We haven't looked at anything of that. These are just out-of-box dashboards. And later on, I will show you in web access. I will start web access on Friday morning at 9 o'clock if that suits anyone. I will actually tell you about vRealize operations from start to the end, and I will do that via the media, and you can just follow my BGRONAS on Twitter or on LinkedIn or whatever, and I will tell you about this later. So again, down to the silos, kick them away, try to get vRealize operations to be the one tool that you actually start with in your network to give you an end-to-end and down from anything from the user to the disk he uses, and from your data center to the cloud, between the clouds. And this is the wet dream that we have the one tool for actually doing this. We hook into any hardware, any device, anything sort of. It's I mean anything, almost. So here's my mail address, and BGRONAS is what I go by on Twitter. Follow me, and I will tell you whenever I will shoot out web access on Friday morning. You will learn a lot more on vROps, and later on VRA. I would try to get my colleague to have those sessions together with me, and these are all for free, of course. So thank you so much.